Hey guys, welcome back to H&H Sports Talk. I'm your host Hunter with my co-host.
Holbert?
Yeah, and with that, today we'll be getting into some sports topics that happened this week, and we had a big week of NFL news and NFL stories that have happened because of the NFL playoffs, and it was just crazy. So we'll get into that right now.
All right. The first topic I want to talk about, since we missed last week's podcast, so we didn't even get to talk about the last week of the season.
Right.
Um, I wanted to know your thoughts on the end, or how the last week, how the Cowboys played and how the Packers played. As in, we're both Cowboys and Packers fans, so
Yeah, so the Cowboys should have won that game against the Commanders, but that didn't happen. I think you know, I think they were just kind of riding on a high horse, kind of like, we'll win, and that just didn't happen. Nobody showed up to play on offense or on defense, so it was pretty bad all around, in my opinion. And to watch it unfold, I mean, it was kind of sad. And then we had talked about the playoff scenarios and how they would possibly get the number one seed in air quotes, but they didn't, and them losing didn't help the situation, and it didn't help either, because the 49ers and the Eagles had to win. I mean, had to lose, sorry, but they ended up winning, so it just didn't plan out right for the Cowboys. But I mean, it's all right because we'll get into it a little bit later. But they did do good this week, so that's kind of my thoughts on it.
yeah, I think that last week of y'all playing the Commanders, I don't know. I think y'all just assumed that they were gonna roll over and they were like playing the rookie and they're not gonna try, and but
Right.
I think they just punched you in the mouth. They just they just
Yeah.
they just basically said, "Hey, don't forget about us. We're still here. We'll see you next year."
Right.
It was it was
Eh,
a really good game for them. I'm not even gonna lie. Really good game for them.
right. I mean, and all the credit to Sam Howell. I mean, I knew watching him at North Carolina that he was going to be a really good quarterback. It was just a matter of time of when he could get his snaps in, and you know, it's just he was like just letting bombs go, throwing it to every receiver that was open, or even these little shots. And it's like, that's what he did in college. So it's kind of, I knew what he was capable of. I don't think, some of the Cowboys fans that, pay attention to that stuff in college, probably didn't know. But going in, I knew that he was a tough competitor and that he was going to give it his all for sure.
Yeah. So what did you think about the end of the Packers season?
Yeah. So there was a lot going on, coming into the game, a lot of speculation whether, the Packers would end up being in the playoffs or not. And so I think the scenario was that the Lions had to win so that way y'all don't go in the playoffs. And so kind of all the Seattle fans and Seattle as a whole was kind of just watching to make sure and see if they still got their spot in. And it was a close game overall, but I think the Lions just were the better team. And I've told you in the past that I think the Lions were the better team because going in, the Packers had an up and down season, but then they started to show progress at the end of the season, which all the credit to them. They all stepped up when they had to. And so then, after the loss and everything, you see Rodgers and Cobb kind of saying their farewell almost, but we don't know yet. So he could retire, he could not retire. Well, we just don't know. But just had that, they had that shot of Rodgers and Cobb going out, and it kind of seemed like it was a farewell, but we'll see kind of what develops in the following week.
Yeah, that ending to the season was probably, in my opinion, one of the worst ways to end the season.
Yeah.
Cause it's the most in between of being top 10 pick and playoff team, and that's like the where we don't want to be.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know, I just feel like this is like the worst outcome. After midway through the season, everyone was like, "Oh, we should play Jordan Love," and and just see what the young guy has and all that. And then we go on this run and we're like, oh my, we can make the playoffs. And then we choke it away against the Lions, which full credit to the Lions and Jamal Williams and
Right.
Jared Goff and all them
Hmm.
because I absolutely love Jamal Williams as a person and a player. I couldn't even really be mad at him scoring on us because I was like, man, I like this guy.
Right. Yeah.
But I
He's
think
just.
I've had like I've had 2 weeks to kind of comprehend and like understand what's happening. I remember the day of the game, I was going off. Like I was just ranting to you and to our other friends, and I was like, "This is the worst way to end our season."
Hmm.
And this gives Aaron a reason to try to come back because he's like, "I want to make the playoffs," which there's nothing wrong with that. But I think with the whole Jordan Love situation that we drafted him in the first round, and if we just let him walk, like we don't even play him at all, that's probably the biggest waste of a first round pick I've seen in a long time.
Right.
We could have gotten like more defensive players. We could have gotten an offensive lineman. We could have gotten a running back for all I know. You know what I mean?
Or your favorite, the receiver
Oh, we
that
weren't
y'all
getting a
needed.
receiver. We know that. We know the Packers do not draft receivers in the first round.
Yeah.
That's not how this works here. But I don't know, like I think at when that happened, it was like the most anger I've had at the organization ever. I think it was like because it was like a fresh wound, but I mean, I I think it's not the worst thing in the world. I think that we needed a season to, I guess, gain the chemistry if Aaron's gonna come back. And having the young guys all there for the end of the season and them playing like decently well, like with Christian Watson and with Romeo Dobbs and Randall Cobb. I think he will probably retire. I think the farewell thing was for Cobb mostly. The whole like hugging him and Aaron.
Hmm.
I think that was for Randall. I think Randall Cobb will retire. I don't know if he should retire, but I think he will. I think it's about that time.
Yeah.
But the person that I want to know if they're gonna retire or not is Aaron Rodgers. So like, do you think he should
Right.
retire? Or?
Honestly, I think it is because if it's, since they didn't make the playoffs and they kind of steadily kind of been getting the same result, making the run in the playoffs and then losing in the NFC Championship and, not getting back to the Super Bowl. I think, worst case scenario, it'd be the same thing again and they get the same result. I don't think that they have the team to win a Super Bowl. So I think, if anything, Aaron Rodgers should retire. But that's just my opinion, because look at what happened with Tom Brady. He came out of retirement and then, he lost in the first round. So, similar thing could happen to Aaron Rodgers. And it's like, I came out of retirement, risked, kind of like, injuries and all sorts of other things just to play another season to try to make it to the playoffs. And was it worth it? Was it not worth it? You know what I mean? So I think personally, I think he should retire and they should move on and go ahead and let Jordan Love handle the snaps.
Yeah, as a Packers fan, I agree with you. And it's really hard to say this, and I've been saying this like for a couple months.
Mhm.
I believe Aaron Rodgers should retire. I think his Super Bowl like era or like him playing at a Super Bowl quarterback level might be over or his window is closed basically.
Right. Yeah.
And it's about time for us to see the young guy and like I said earlier, not have a wasted first round pick.
Hmm.
Um I love Aaron. I know he said that on Pat McAfee's podcast or his show or whatever. He said yesterday that he feels like he could win MVP in the right situation. And I'm like, I don't know if you should be thinking about MVPs more than Super Bowls.
Hmm.
That's just my opinion. I don't really.
Right. And then there's also speculation that he could probably go to another team, kind of do,
Yeah,
what a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning type thing. But like I said, it's kind of all up in the air right now.
yeah.
I think he
We
should
don't
do
know
what's
what he's
best.
gonna do.
Right. I think he should just do what's best for him in his situation. And right now, looking at it from the stands and a fan standpoint, I think he should retire.
Yeah, I think I think he should work more on himself. He maybe be able to retire and then try to come back. I think that's what he might end up doing, but we don't know.
Right.
And then, oh, we were just talking about Tom Brady. Do you think Tom Brady should actually retire this time?
This time, I believe he should. I mean, I think we all kind of, you know, had seen the downfall of the team this year for the Buccaneers, and it's not looking good. Tom's gotten a little bit more stress. You can tell on the sidelines, like he gets kind of upset, throws iPads or tablets or whatever, and he's yelling at teammates. I mean, sure, that's all part of the emotion of the game, but at the same time, it's like it's a mental toll on a person for sure. And of course, he had all this stuff with the divorce and all that. But from a football standpoint, I think he should retire just for his sake, and hopefully he can find another passion. So I've heard some people say he might coach. I heard some people say he might go to the commentary booth because I don't know if he had signed a deal with Fox or if it was someone else. I'm not too sure, but I think that should be the right move for him, just to retire. And he's done what he's done. He is the goat of football as of right now. But I think he should retire.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think him coming out of retirement might have been a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously his now ex-wife believes that too.
Right. Yeah.
I just think it's time for him to hang it up, do something different. He has his TB12 stuff, so he's gonna be getting money.
Mm-hmm.
He he could probably do the broadcasting and stuff. I think that would be really cool. I think people would like to hear from him.
Right.
I think this one is more clear cut than the Aaron Rodgers one. He
Mm-hmm.
should retire. He played decently this season. He didn't play up to his level that he played to the last couple seasons, but he kind of picked it back up at the end. They had a winning record, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of the quarterback talks, the one thing that I'm very, very interested to know about that's going to happen probably this offseason, where will Lamar Jackson end up?
This is a hard one, just to think,
All right, how
like
about
which
this? How
teams
about this?
which teams are in the quarterback running. I mean, there's
Yeah.
quite a few. There's obviously the Raiders.
Let me ask you
Um,
this first, though.
mhm.
Do you think he will stay with Baltimore? That's the first question.
That's the first question. Honestly, I think he should, just because you know he's done really good in his career there. Seems like to have something good going, but as we all know, money talks, and so obviously there's that whole situation, and it's just like we don't know what's gonna happen. But it's a hard answer, but I would think if the money's right, he'll stay, and if it's not, if they don't come to terms, then he's obviously going to leave. But you know, like I said, there's a bunch of other teams in the runnings looking for quarterbacks. Like I said, there's the Raiders. I guess you could put the Colts up there, and you know, we just don't know. What do you think?
I don't think he will stay with Baltimore.
You don't think so?
No, because I think out of the what has he been there like 4 or 5 years already?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They have not been able to put or keep a number one guy there. You know what I mean?
Right. Mhm.
And they just paid what is it, Roquan Smith so much money.
Right.
Yeah,
It kind of.
I just think them paying him that much money would mean that they're willing to let Lamar go to beef up their defense
Mm-hmm. And Baltimore has been known for their defense
for
for quite
years.
some
Yeah,
time. Yeah. So you think of Baltimore, you think of defense. You don't really think of a star-studded offense per se. So
yeah, because their last
I
Super
don't.
Bowl run was with what Joe Flacco.
Yeah, and that says a lot right there.
Yeah,
So
I just think he'll end up on a team that has some young pieces and he'll be able to shine better.
what are you thinking? You thinking more of the Colts?
I'm thinking the Colts, or I'm thinking the Panthers with DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking something like that.
Okay.
Like teams that are solid all around, but they just need that one star quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll slide right in. Yeah, you got anything else to say about Lamar? You got any ideas?
I don't
Anything that
think
might
so.
sway him?
I don't think so. I mean, other than people have obviously been saying, kind of with the Cowboys, they don't know if Dak is that guy. So I've seen Lamar's name been thrown out there here and there, but I mean, it's kind of a long shot. It's like I said, we'll get to it in here in a little bit how Dak's performance was, but it's just I don't think they'll go for him at this point.
Yeah, I don't think that's a possibility right now.
Mm-mm. I don't think so either.
Well, now we could just go on to Wild Card Weekend. You know, there were 6 games last weekend.
All great
Uh,
games.
all of them were pretty good games. I'm actually surprised with some of them. We can go into depth about every game.
Right.
We could talk about first. We could talk about the Seahawks and 49ers. The
Right.
49ers came out with the 41-23 win. I think that was a pretty solid performance for them.
I thought so too. They were able to, I wouldn't say completely shut down Geno Smith, but you know, Geno Smith kind of didn't really play to what we've seen him play. And so I think that was a big factor whether Geno was going to play to a good standard. And so I think that kind of hurt the Seahawks a little bit, obviously. But in the end, I think the overall better team won because 49ers have a great defense, they have a great offense, and we've talked about it before. They have all the tools on offense. They have Debo, they have Brandon Ayuk, they have McCaffrey now, so and now they even have their third string quarterback just kind of popping off. So
And we can't forget George Kittle.
and George Kittle,
George Kittle
exactly,
is
yeah,
probably one of my favorite players in the league.
you're right. So it was just crazy, and going forward, I think um, in the NFC that the 49ers are probably going to be the team to beat because they're just that good.
Yeah, I think they played super well. I mean, Brock Purdy had like a iffy first half, but it wasn't horrible. And then
Right.
he
I
came
mean,
out in the second half and really, really put it on them.
right. He kind of, I mean, it's his first playoff game. So,
He had the little
kind of
nerves,
just little nerves, right? And then kind of, like you said, he
especially
stepped up.
being mystery relevant, being the last pick of the draft.
Hmm.
I think I think it's gonna be interesting to see what they do at quarterback in the future. But I think we could talk
Right,
about that later on.
right. As it kind of develops a little bit more and everyone's a little healthy and they kind of say what everybody wants to hear.
Because at this point they have three starting quarterbacks on their roster. So,
Right, exactly. So
but 49ers, great game. Probably right now the team to beat. They just look unstoppable. Their defense is crazy. You can't really do anything about it. The next game that happened was the Chargers at the Jaguars.
this was a really good game. This was a big comeback for the Jaguars.
I don't know how the Chargers choked this game.
Right, because at the half they were up. I want to say what was it by 20 points because it
Yeah,
was
27 to
27-7.
7.
Right, so they were up by 20 points, and at that point, the Jaguars just had no answers on offense and a little bit on defense, obviously because they scored. But it's like if they don't see anything happening, it's like we would think it's a done deal. Chargers win, easy day at the office. But no, the Jaguars keep proving us wrong, and this is exactly why I told you I think they were the scariest team in the AFC right now because you wouldn't want to play them, and this just proves it. They made a big comeback, and it was a big win. And again, Trevor Lawrence stepped up to be that leader for the team.
Yeah, I remember watching the first half of this game, and I was like, "Oh, this game's done." Like the Chargers are just running all over them. They're just moving up and down the field. And then the second half starts, and I'm like, "Oh, look, the Jaguars are scoring. Nice. It's gonna be a little closer." And then it gets around the fourth quarter, and I'm like, "Wow, this is a close game." And me and my roommate started to like actually lean in and look at it. And this comeback was probably one of the most beautiful comebacks I've seen. You see the Chargers defense getting upset at everything. Joey Bosa slamming his helmet
Mhm.
on something that probably was a missed call a couple times. But I mean, I think he needed to keep his composure a little bit.
Right.
But I this game made the Jaguars look even scarier than I thought they already were. Like holding the Chargers, who's our decent offense. I mean, they didn't have their top receiver, Mike Williams, but I mean, Austin
Right.
Eckler, Keenan Allen, no slouches. And they
Mm-mm.
hold them to 3 points in the second half. 3 points in the second half is crazy.
It was crazy just to watch and how it unfolded. So I mean, like I said, I think the Jags are the scariest team for sure.
I'm actually starting to like lean towards that.
Mm-hmm. See,
Another interesting thing that happened was Dolphins Bills. The Bills win 34-31.
this
Close
was a close
game
game.
with
Yep, this
Skylar
was a close.
Thompson at quarterback.
See, coming in, a lot of people probably didn't have Skylar Thompson doing what he did. I want to say what was he, 18 of 45 and 220 yards.
Something like that.
Yeah. So he kind of stepped up when he needed to step up, and again, he has those weapons on offense, and so I think that really helped as well, and that contributed to them scoring as many points and keeping it a close game. Because the first quarter was kind of rocky, it was the Bills were up by 14, and the Dolphins didn't score, and then the second quarter the Dolphins started to score a little bit more, so it was just back and forth, and then finally, the Bills actually pulled off the win, even though they didn't score anything in the fourth quarter, which was really surprising. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the Bills are the Bills, and they got it done with Josh Allen.
Yeah, I think this is a kind of a crazy story because like you could really think about if Tua was playing in this game,
Right,
would they have won? I think they would have if the Bills played the way they played versus Skylar Thompson.
right.
And it also makes you think about Tua's health, if it's gonna be a problem.
Well, too, you got to look at it this way. He had kind of some issues in college, and so health wise, injury wise, and so that's kind of transitioning into the NFL now. And there's a lot bigger players coming at you, tackling you, and there's a lot more damage that can be done as we've seen throughout the season with Tua. So I think that's kind of why he was a little overlooked in the draft boards and whatnot. So
Yeah, I just the whole three concussions thing, or two apparently, but three that we think.
yeah, we're gonna count it as three
It's
because
it's just not looking good for them, for Tua in his career, but we've talked about
right.
that before.
Hmm.
I just think if he could stay healthy, they could be a team to be scared of.
Right.
But of course, the Bills are probably one of the most consistent teams in the AFC in my opinion. So it's not a surprise that they won the game and they pulled it out even though it was close. I just think they're the more well put together team to win a championship. You got anything else about the Bills, Dolphins?
No.
All right. We can go to the Giants and Vikings. Giants come up
Yeah.
with a big win, 31-24 against the
Your
the Vikings, or the
your
frauds.
favorite team. Your favorite
Oh
team.
my. I've been
uh,
saying all year that the Vikings are frauds and they win close
right.
games, but like I think the only like big win that they had was against the Packers in the first week, right?
Right. I mean, all I gotta say about this game is that, like you said, the Giants played really good. Daniel Jones stepped up when he needed to. He even got some rushing yards in there, which is great. And primetime Kirk came out, and so I mean, he did kind of decent, kind of not. I mean, say what you want, but at the end of the day, like you said, the Vikings are frauds, and the Giants just stepped up. And at the end of the day, the Giants exposed the Vikings. So that's all I gotta say.
I
I mean,
the Vikings on the fourth and nine, end of the game, you need to get a first down to have a chance to go for like the game winning touchdown. And Kirk Cousins decides, "Oh, I'm gonna throw 3 yards when I need nine, and there's somebody right on my receiver's back." Like that's the dumbest. Like it's probably harder to think about it when you're in the situation, but you're in the
mhm.
NFL. Like I think you need to understand what the situation is as a quarterback to get the yardage that you need to even have a chance to win a playoff game.
Yeah,
It I feel so bad for Justin Jefferson. That man has played the probably one of the top 5 seasons as a receiver, and he did it with Kirk Cousins.
right. And you kind of seen his frustration and his emotion on the sidelines during the regular season. So I mean, this probably added fuel to the fire, and it's it's yeah, it's sad to see that they couldn't at least go to the second round. They had to end in the first round. So yeah,
Won the division for nothing.
right, exactly. Yep, pretty much.
That's all I have to say about that. If not, I'm gonna rant
Yeah,
about it for 20 minutes.
probably. Yeah,
We can
we
move
just
on to the Ravens
move on.
Bengals game.
Right. This was a close game too, and you know, I think
Bengals
this was a good
won.
game.
It was a 24-17 win for the Bengals. I am also surprised how Why can't I think of his name? Oh my God,
The quarterback,
Huntley,
yeah, Tyler Huntley.
Tyler Huntley. I
Hmm.
I don't know why I blanked, but I am very surprised on how he was able to keep them in the game the whole time.
Hmm.
I mean, he didn't. I don't think he did great.
No, he didn't do great by any means, but at the end of the day, he kind of showed up and did what he needed to do. I mean,
Yeah,
they
and
they know they know the situation with Lamar with the injury and stuff. So I mean, for him to step up, it's good to see. And it kind of just goes back to his Utah days when he played at Utah, and they had a really solid team there. I want to say when he was there, they were undefeated for the most part. I think maybe they had one or two losses, probably in their bowl games or in the championship game. In the Pac-12, I'm not too sure. I could be wrong, but he kind of played to that caliber, and so for him to kind of step up and accept that role, kind of like we've seen with Brock Purdy and stuff. So it was just good to see him kind of keep them close. I mean, he did have some questionable decisions, especially towards the end. But at the end of the day, this was just they were pretty much the underdog with Lamar not being at center.
yeah, and the craziest part is they actually almost tied the game at the end with the Hail Mary.
Hmm. Right.
Legit, right off the hands of the receiver. I could imagine how the game would have went different, and the Ravens could have won if
Hmm.
he caught that. So I think they played really well. Their defense obviously played well,
Right.
but it's kind of hard to stop Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd.
Hmm.
It's just a
And
really high powered offense.
right, and that's because they struggled in the beginning of the year a little bit, and everybody
Hmm.
was like, I don't know, you know, their games are kind of close, but it's just good. It just shows their progression over the season. They kind of adapt, and it was able to carry on, um, and here in the playoffs in the wild card in the first round.
Yeah, so the Bengals another team to watch. I think the divisional round is going to be really great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Here comes your favorite game of the weekend.
Yes, my favorite game, the Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All I gotta say is that I think Dak is back. I would like to make a public announcement. Dak is back. I mean, we talked about it a little while ago, or well, earlier in the podcast, that everybody played terrible in their last regular season game, but then, you know, all eyes were on Dallas, kind of just can they beat Tom Brady? Tom Brady's the GOAT, and Tampa Bay started kind of at the end of the season, much like the Bengals, stepped up. And so the Cowboys were favored by, I want to say, is by less than 3 points. But at the end of the day, it took a big turn of events. It was pretty much a blowout for most of the game until the second half when Tampa Bay started scoring, But at the end of the day, I think that everybody on the Cowboys played really well. It was their defense, it was their offense. It just it was a great game overall for Dallas, and hopefully they can continue this in the next round. But all I gotta say is that it was a really good game, and to have Jack step up and everybody say, "Man, I think he's kind of you know playing up to his contract now and whatnot." And it's like we'll have to see going forward because they have a tough game next week against the 49ers. And so that'll be the ultimate test because, like I said, they're one of the scariest teams in the NFC because they have all the weapons on offense and on defense. So that's kind of where I stand on it right now.
Okay, so the whole Dak is back. We've talked about this off the podcast too.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
I understand the the proving people wrong, right? Like, he didn't have a good season, led the league in interceptions
Right.
without playing 5 games. Um, I don't know if you can say that he is back yet. I
Right.
do believe he had a very good game. He played well.
I think it was a great game. Actually, this is probably, his best game of his career. Honestly.
I think that this is one of his best games. I think this was the best overall game as a Cowboys team, except for maybe the Vikings game in the season.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't think you can fully say Dak and the Cowboys are back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because of one really good game against a team who has a old quarterback. I mean, it's Tom Brady, but
Yeah.
a
I mean,
quarterback who is not playing up to par as he normally would play in the past, and a team that barely had a winning record. I think there were like one game over 500.
mhm.
So I do believe y'all had a great game. I do believe that this could be the start of y'all being a contender for the Super Bowl.
Right.
But I don't
I
think
mean,
one game proves that. That's my opinion. And I think if y'all
right.
have a really good game against the 49ers, then I will start to believe in the Cowboys.
Yeah, because as of right now, you could probably agree with me. The Super Bowl, or well, not the Super Bowl, but the Lombardi Trophy in general is kind of up for grabs. Like, we really don't know who is going to win, because there's just so many good teams. And, we thought, well, not that we thought, but some people thought, the Vikings could have an easy win against the Giants, and we saw what happened. We thought the Ravens would have beat the Bengals, but, Lamar wasn't playing. So there's just all these little things. And so it really is up for grabs. So it just depends on how they do play, like I said, against the 49ers. And like you said, so it'll just like, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that could go wrong for some teams, a lot of things that need to go really well for certain teams to win. I just think the last 8 teams are probably some of the most fun teams for me to watch. So this divisional round is going to be really good.
Hmm.
And that could lead us right into our predictions for the divisional round. So, first game, Jaguars at the Chiefs. What do you think will happen?
So personally, like I said, I think the Jaguars are a really tough team to play. And so I think everybody's kind of favoring the Chiefs. But I think as of right now, just to see how the Jaguars play to make that big comeback, I have to go with the Jags. I mean, no questions asked. I just have to say the Jags because they've proven to us that they can be that team, especially with Trevor Lawrence stepping up, like I said, to be the leader in the locker room. So I have to go with the Jaguars.
I will have to disagree. I think Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey will will probably just take over this game. I The Jaguars defense is good. I just think that they're the best duo in the league, in my opinion. Uh, I do believe the Chiefs' defense is worse than the Chargers, so I think the game will be even more high scoring, back and forth. I don't expect any blowout. I expect the Jaguars to be in it the whole time, but I think Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey's um, connection and their experience, I think that will win in the game. I think it'll be close, but I
Mhm.
think the inexperience of the young Jaguars team will come to bite them in the butt. against probably, in my opinion, the favorite of the AFC. So,
Mhm.
but I could see the Jaguars making a good, like a big upset, and I would
Right,
love to see it, but I just don't think it will happen.
right.
Um, and here's the the divisional game in the divisional round.
You're right.
The Giants at the Eagles.
Personally, I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles. I mean, because they played a really good game, or really good games all season long. However, I will say they do um, have a chance of losing just because their last game when they played the Giants, it was kind of back and forth. But you have to take into consideration that Hurts was just coming back from his injury, and so you just have to, wait and watch. But personally, I think that the Eagles are the better team, and I would have to say that the Eagles just take the win.
I'll probably agree with you. I think the Eagles are one of the best teams in the league. I think they have good offensive weapons. I think their defense is really solid. Um, I think the Giants will put up a really good fight, but I just think the Eagles will overpower them. The Eagles defense will step up. I'm pretty sure. I think Brandon Graham's probably going to be the it factor in this game. He's going to be the reason why the Eagles win. That's what I think will happen. Um, I know Jalen Hurts is coming off his injury, but he's had probably 2 weeks to get back into his rhythm. I think he'll come out swinging. Him and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith will have a good game.
Mhm.
I think Saquon will have a really good game. I just think I just think the Eagles are the better overall team and will come out with the win. All right. The next game, Bengals at the Bills.
I'm gonna go with the Bills. I mean, I think that the Bills are the better team. I mean, yes, the Bengals, you know, have been pretty close all year long, but I just think that the Bills are the better team, and I'm gonna have to go with the Bills. And I'm pretty sure that the Bills are gonna try to make a run for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I actually think the Bengals will win this game
You think so?
because the Bills the last few weeks have been in some close games for some reason, and I don't know they look like they get flustered a little bit in the first half.
Uh huh.
And if the Bengals come out swinging, which they normally do, with maybe like a good couple touchdowns in the first half, maybe 17, 20 points in the first half, I
Hmm.
think the Bengals can pull this game out and have a chance to go back to the Super Bowl. I think the Bills are the more overall team. I just think the Bengals are the grittier team. They're gonna work harder for it. That's what I
Yeah.
think. I think they want to get back, so they're gonna play even harder. This is for this is for pride. This is to be able to get back to where they were last year, and maybe
Mhm.
even take it, so they could hoist that Lombardi Trophy. The next game is the Cowboys and 49ers. So I'm gonna let you take this one first.
Yeah. So here's my thought. So Cowboys played a really good game against the Buccaneers. Like you said, they have a washed quarterback. I mean, but it is Tom Brady. So at the end of the day, during that game, we saw. Brett Maher missed 4 extra points, which is unheard of. Unheard of. That is the most in history. So, with that being said, I believe that the Cowboys will pull off the win. It'll be an upset win, not a big win. I think it'll be close, just because just the way that they've been playing. So, with that being said, I believe the Cowboys will win, and not only they win, I believe that Brett Maher will hit the game-winning field goal to move them on. This is very bold because how it happened, him missing 4 extra points. But I think he'll hit the game-winning field goal. It will end the 49ers run.
That is bold. I think that would also be the most obvious script writing I've ever seen.
Right. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the I think this game will be closer than people think. I think the Cowboys are coming off this good game, and um they're really expecting to come out swinging. I think if Dak plays a good game and can get the ball to CD Lamb, I think their connection can probably help them win the game. I do think the 49ers will win this game though. That's my opinion. I just
Hmm.
think their defense is too high powered, and I think their offense is also too high powered for the Cowboys defense, who are known to struggle against decent receivers. It's like we'll see how Trayvon Diggs does. I think he's gotten better since like throughout the season,
He has, yes.
but
But he also has struggled this
I
past week a little bit.
don't think the other corners will be able to guard Kittle or whoever's guarding him, whoever's guarding Brandon Ayuk, or if they put Christian McCaffrey in the slot like they did a couple times this week. I don't think the Cowboys defense has enough weapons to
Hmm.
counteract the 49ers weapons.
Right.
So I think the 49ers come out with the win. I think it will be close. I think it would be the opposite and the 49ers win on a game-winning field goal.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I don't want to be I don't want to make fun of the Cowboys, but they seem to lose on game-winning field goals
Yeah.
pretty often in the playoffs. That or 14 seconds and quarterback draws. So yeah, those are my predictions. Those are our predictions.
Hmm. Yep. And with that, we're gonna move on to some mean green news. Both of our favorite news of the podcast. So closing out with all this, we're gonna start with UNT coming back down from 18 points to beat Middle Tennessee 56-51. And this was all led by Reuben Jones with 13 points. Reuben Jones did step up. So, and everybody kind of stepped up, I guess you could say, in this comeback win. And it was a tough win because Middle Tennessee, was giving it their all. And then at the end of the day, the better team won. So, what are your thoughts?
I was very, very scared when I saw that we were down by 18.
Right.
And we're not like a high powered scoring offense, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little different to see us being led by Reuben Jones in scoring. I like Reuben Jones. He's a good player. You would just expect Tyler Perry to be making some shots to get us back in the game. It didn't end up like that, but we still come out with a big win, a big comeback. It also probably gave us a lot of confidence that we can come back from
Mm-hmm.
any deficit, which I like.
Right. And we saw this kind of similar thing with the Texas Longhorns when they were playing TCU. So I mean, anything is possible if you have the right team and the right players. And UNT just keeps proving that they have really good players on all positions of the ball. So it was great to see for our school to pull off the win. And also in some more Mean Green basketball news, UNT wins on a game winner by Kai Huntsberry against LA Tech. And the leading scorer was Tyler Perry with 21 points. And this was a really good game. You know, I don't really know what La Tech's record was in the conference, but I don't think, was it good or no, right? I don't think so.
I think
They had like,
they were okay. I don't think it was anything crazy.
right? Like, it was probably like 2-3 or something like that. But either way, they always give us a good game no matter when we play them. And so that this is just no different.
Yeah,
And
this game was really good. I was actually in the super pit when this happened. Energy was great. First game with a bunch of the students back, and great win, great game winner. Baseline mid range shot by Kai Huntsberry.
mhm,
The whole arena just exploded when it happened. It was really good to
right.
see Kai also make a game winner, because normally you would expect, like I said, Tyler Perry to be the
At
one to
Paris.
win the game. But
Mhm,
it's really good to see that we have trust in another player now that can win us a game.
right. And Kai Huntsberry has continued to prove in that he can make clutch shots. And he has actually in the past when Tyler Perry was kind of cold in the non conference games, like he was, getting points up there. And so finally to see him step up when, you know, someone else can, or, whatever the decision may be, like you were saying, we have trust in him. It's just good to see that, like you were saying.
Great to see. Love it.
Hmm. And continuing on with some more Mean Green news, UNT falls to FAU again in another close game, 66-62, led by Perry with 18 points.
Yeah, this game was
So
rough to watch. Like,
this was a hard game to watch. It was kind of close for the most part, but then FAU just proving that they are the better team, and this was a for first place, I believe. I think we both had the same record at that point in conference, the same record. So the
if we
like
beat them, we would have had the same record, which means that
we
we
would have
would
had the
have been
same
above
record.
them.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're undefeated in conference.
Oh, okay.
They also won that game and then got ranked.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They were ranked
So
25 after that game.
yeah. I mean, my apologies for that, but you know, the better team did win, and they did beat us in the last meeting. So going forward, UNT would have to step up, but they've proven that they can step up in the past. So I kind of have full faith in them. We have a good team, like we were talking about with Kai Huntsberry and Perry starting to uh, lead with points per game. So just going forward, I think it'll be good to see that. Do you have any thoughts on
Uh, just I think FAU. We'll see them again in the conference tournament.
that? Right.
Hopefully, third time's a charm.
Right. Yeah. So we'll have to see going forward, and we have other tough games coming up. So everyone's kind of just been up and down in the conference, but we'll just have to see going forward, like I was saying. And finally, with the final Mean Green basketball news, UNT takes down FIU 64-57, led by Tyler Perry once again with 17 points, and three others had 13 each. So everybody kind of contributing to this win against FIU in the away game.
Yeah, this was a really good game. I think we played really well. It was really back and forth for a long time.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we were down by like 8 in the middle of the fourth quarter, or not the fourth quarter, second half.
Hmm.
Um, and then we started to pick it up and really score, and everyone started to heat up. And it was just a really solid game to come back after that loss to FAU, just to prove that we're still here. We're not
And we're still
any
in it,
slouches.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like you said, we'll probably see them again, and um, I think FIU is one of I think the last two teams in the conference. So, you know, they put up a fight at the end of the day, but like we say before and we say in the past, the better team won, and that's what happened in this case. Anything else with basketball? Any other thoughts
Um,
you have?
just that we got two big games coming up. Tomorrow we play Rice, and then Saturday we play UAB. So we'll see how those games go.
Mm-hmm.
I I hope we can win, but I know Jordan Walker, aka Jelly Walker,
Mm-hmm.
is the leading scorer in the country right now with like 24 points per game. So we'll see how that UAB game goes.
Right. So we'll just all have to watch and see what happens with that. So moving on to some Mean Green football news. The Mean Green have added the number one linebacker in Oklahoma. He's a three-star named Dietrich Moore.
No,
And
yeah,
so
I
I
believe
think
it's Dietrich. Yeah,
Dietrich, right? So that's a really good pickup for the Mean Green and for Eric Morris. Proving that we can get those top star recruits. And so moving forward, we could probably see a lot more of this. And we kind of briefly talked about it in the podcast before. So moving forward, this would be great to see and see how he performs. I mean, you never know.
might be the replacement for KD Davis. We'll never know.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You never know, but we'll just have to see how he performs. I think it's spring training, which should be coming up in the next few months. So it'd be good to see. The Mean Green also add Philip Hill. He's a safety from UNLV. And they also add Trey Cleveland, a receiver from Texas Tech. So these are all really good pickups from the transfer portal. So Philip Hill, I think you said he was hurt his freshman year. Am
Yeah,
I
he got
right?
injured when he was redshirted. Apparently,
Right. So he's coming back from that. And then obviously UNLV had beat UNT last year, or well, this past year. And so whether he can contribute on the defensive side of the ball has yet to be seen, but I'm pretty sure he'll do a good job no matter what. And also Trey Cleveland, that's a big pickup from Texas Tech, having that receiver and kind of replacing all the receivers that have left or transferred or whatnot, you know, having that presence from a bigger school, I think is always a big plus. So we'll see how he contributes going forward. Also in the transfer portal, we added Jacqueline Carter, a receiver from Illinois State. That is a smaller school. And we also add Chandler Rogers, a QB from ULM. So those are also pretty good pickups. Good to see that we're getting transfers from all over, and we could see how they perform this year, or if they end up starting, or whatever happens. Just see what happens.
it
Because
also shows how good of a recruit Coach Morris is,
and his whole
and
staff,
his
right?
staff, and how many people want to
Hmm.
play for us because of the new coaching staff.
Right. So we'll
A
have to
lot, a
just
lot of
see
good
moving forward.
offensive, a lot of good offensive transfers too. So we'll see. We'll see if we
Hmm.
can be a top offense in our conference. Moving up, I don't know if that is realistic, but we're optimistic about it.
Right.
All right, got anything else?
Nope.
All right, that'll be it for this podcast. If you liked our thoughts, like, comment, subscribe, tell us what you think. You can follow our TikTok, it's going to be in the description. And we'll see you next time. I was your host, Holbert,
And Hunter,
and we'll see you.
yep, see you.